LGG family, welcome back to another video with Laugh, Gags, and Gossip. Thank you for stopping by, but please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can know anytime I drop a video. Now let's get into the mess. Lawyers seek criminal investigation of Ti&Tiny on behalf of multiple women. The link to this article is in the description. I'm not going to read the entire article, but I will read highlights. The Atlanta superstar rapper and his wife have denied allegations that they drugged and sexually assaulted women, and their lawyer called it a shakedown. Weeks after accusations of sexual abuse and assault against the rapper T.I. and his wife, Tamika Harris, started circulating on social media, a lawyer has approached law enforcement authorities in 2 states seeking criminal inquiries on behalf of 11 people who said they were victimized by the couple or members of their entourage. 4 women have accused the celebrity pair of drugging and sexually assaulting them, including 2 instances of rape that were said to have occurred in Georgia and California, according to the letters sent on February 19th by the lawyer Tyrone A. Blackburn to state and federal prosecutors in both states. Similar letters were sent to the attorneys general in those states. Mr. Blackburn, a New York-based lawyer, said that the eerily similar experience spanned more than a decade, beginning in 2005. The most recent allegation of sexual abuse occurred in 2017 or 2018, he said. None of the women involved know one another, but describe sexual abuse, forced ingestion of illegal narcotics, kidnapping, terroristic threats, and false imprisonment at the hands of T.I., Ms. Harris, and their associates or employees, Mr. Blackburn wrote. His letter also included instances of non-sexual intimidation, assault, and harassment. A lawyer for T.I. and Ms. Harris said that the couple deny in the strongest possible terms these baseless, unjustified allegations. We fully expect that if these claims are thoroughly and fairly investigated, no charges will be forthcoming. These allegations are nothing more than the continuation of a sordid shakedown campaign that began on social media and now attempts to manipulate the press and misuse the justice system. So it goes on to say Mr. Blackburn's letter called on the officials to investigate the behavior of T.I. and Atlanta superstar born Clifford J. Harris Jr. and Ms. Harris, also known as Tiny, a member of the R&B group Escape, in order to tackle and end the stream of depravity being committed. Most of his clients were referred to anonymously in the letters Mr. Blackburn wrote because they were in fear for their lives and safety, citing T.I.'s reputation as a powerful man who has been convicted in the past of federal weapons charges. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, it's a pretty long article. Several of the women are interested in pursuing criminal cases against T.I. and Ms. Harris, Mr. Blackburn said in an interview, but they are running up against the statutes of limitation in some instances. Mr. Blackburn has sent letters seeking criminal investigations to the offices of the U.S. attorneys of the Northern District of Georgia and the Central District of California, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, and the state's Attorneys General of California and Georgia. He has received notices that the letters of investigation have been delivered. The Georgia Attorney General's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The other law enforcement officials either declined to comment or said they could not confirm receipt of the letters. So, a military veteran, a former friend turned assistant, an exotic dancer, and teenage intern at T.I. studio and record label Grand Hustle were among the accusers, the lawyer's letter said. The New York Times has spoken with 5 people who, the letter said, were drugged, assaulted by the Harrises or those in their orbit along with multiple individuals, including friends or family members, who said they were told of those episodes soon or after, often within days. In the 3 cases, the Times also reviewed messages or photos that supported the timeline of events. Interesting. So it sounds like some of these accusers are coming forward and providing receipts, which is very important. Not to say that T.I. or Tiny have done everything that's being alleged, but if the women are able to substantiate some of the claims, then, I mean, this is starting to look really bad for them. In interviews, the women portrayed the rapper and his wife as aggressors who deployed drugs, alcohol, money, and their celebrity status to prey on and entrap women for sexual abuse, and then threaten violence against anyone who might speak out. The veteran, who served 5 years in the Air Force, said she met the couple in Los Angeles in 2005. She and a friend had been whisked into the VIP section of a club where the pair, not yet married at the time, were holding court, the military veteran recalled in an interview. Ms. Harris soon offered the women a taste of her drink, and they tried it, she said. The veteran had also ordered one drink from the VIP bar, she said, an amaretto sour, her standard cocktail, and the only other thing she knowingly consumed that night. Within hours, the 2 friends were sick, woozy, and vomiting, they said in separate interviews. The military veteran, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to protect her family, came to believe that she had been drugged, she said. Once she became incapacitated, she said T.I. and Ms. Harris then, her in a hotel room. The veteran's friend said in a separate interview that she had observed the woman leave the club with T.I. and Ms. Harris and recalled hearing details of the encounter the next morning as they drove home in shock. For the veteran, who was 23 at the time, it was a life-altering trauma, she said. In a video posted to Instagram late last month, when other similar accounts of abuse surfaced, T.I. called all the sexual interactions consensual. He said that he never drugged anyone against their will, held anyone against their will, or made anyone do anything. The problem with consent, though, when there's drugs and alcohol involved, is that, especially if you're not a licensed physician and under some kind of medical care, I don't think you can dispense medications to people. So I think that's going to be something he's going to be that they're going to hang over his head, that he can't really say that it's consensual, because consent goes out the window. If any of you have ever had any kind of surgeries, they have you sign all these letters about arbitration, and if something happens on the table and what they can and cannot do. And they have you sign all of this stuff because, if something changes during the course of the surgery, they need to know ahead of time that you agreed to do it. But these are all done legal. These are legal documents. They have you sign things about arbitration. And even yet and still, some people still can end up suing. And that's under the care of a medical physician. So him saying that, them saying that it's consensual and if there's drugs involved, I mean, no, sir. That's going to be a problem. As a regional street rapper turned pop star, actor, and community leader, T.I., 40, has enjoyed one of the more dramatic narrative arcs in hip-hop history, reinventing himself as a civil rights activist. Well, that's gone out the window. In elder statements in music after repeated arrests involving drugs and firearms early in his career. Well, and again, his early career in history is going to come back and haunt him in this case, especially if they're talking about drugs and firearms. So they're talking about them drugging women, which if he used to sell drugs, and firearms that he had that he shouldn't have had, and them strong-arming people and pulling a gun on Sabrina Peterson. I mean, they're going to use all of this. So the article goes on to say that he had reformed his persona, and that he had gone on to do a family show on MTV, but the show has been put on hiatus until all of these investigations are concluded. So basically, it's just going on to say that, let's see, the women interviewed by the Times said they initially felt more at ease because they were being shown showered with attention by what seemed like a committed couple. Miss Harris, whose nickname Tiny comes from her petite stature, served as a friendly figure, they said, especially compared with the more aloof Ti, whose career was on ascent at the time. The women said they had not suspected Miss Harris, a longtime Atlanta presence who co-wrote the TLC hit No Scrubs, of being predatory. And that's often what happens. If you watch some of these crime shows, you'll see that these girlfriends and wives and sick women enable this kind of predatory behavior with these men because they're so in love. But hey, let's not forget, Tiny could be a lesbian. She could be bisexual. We don't even know at this point who is really at the helm of all this. Maybe she was the one who wanted to do this stuff. And all the narrative has been painted for years that, that it was T.I. and she did it to appease him. We really don't know. It's just like that whole thing with Whitney Houston. For years, everybody thought that Bobby Brown was the reason Whitney Houston was addicted to drugs. When we find out later, it was actually her brother who introduced her to drugs. So, there's just a lot that's going to come out about this. And Tiny being involved at any time, to me, a woman is doing this with other women, with the men. I have a problem with it. I ain't gonna lie. I cannot condone this kind of behavior. You dealing with young girls and all this stuff. I hope it's not true. For when women allow a man to abuse a woman or, take advantage of somebody sexually, I think that is just low. It's horrible. And especially because they have daughters too. Like, you already know. Would you want somebody doing that to your daughter? Which is a whole nother issue, because his daughter, Deja, people are saying she's having some kind of mental issues or stuff is going on with her, and God, protect that child. But we don't know what these kids have seen in that household, the family hustle. Anyway, so let's get back to it. It says Mr. Blackburn's letters. Let's see. Mr. Blackburn's letters to law enforcement officials also included the account of an Atlanta-based woman who became friends with Miss Harris when they were teenagers and who went on to work for the couple around 2005, traveling and partying with them. On several occasions, T.I. forced her to take multiple ecstasy pills, and the duo forced her to engage in sexual acts with different women against her will. Mr. Blackburn wrote, she has personally witnessed women complaining of being kidnapped and held against their will for days at a time. In an interview with the Times, the woman said that she never approached the authorities because she was scared of what would happen to her and her family. And I believe that oftentimes, you're in these situations and you just you're scared you're going to be blackballed, lose your job. You don't know what's going to happen. So I believe some of these young girls just didn't know who to tell, what to tell, and what the repercussions would be if they came forward. There's power in numbers. So maybe, with Sabrina coming forward, more of them feel safe to come and tell their stories. We know something happened. We don't know to what degree it happened, but some shit went down. In a separate interview, the woman's mother said she recalled her daughter coming home from traveling with the couple seeming shaken and distraught, saying that she had not slept for days. In the years that followed, the woman's mother said her daughter opened up about witnessing drugging and sexual assault by T.I. and Miss Harris on multiple occasions. Whew. For the military veteran, the night took a turn when T.I. and Miss Harris invited her and a few others to join them when they left the club, she said. Believing they were going to continue the party elsewhere, she recalled going along willingly. And see, this is why I do believe some of these women, because they're not necessarily saying that they didn't have a hand in, participating or agreeing to do this, but I don't think they agreed to the extent of what followed. I don't think they were prepared for the aftermath. Instead, they went to a hotel room where the other guests were quickly asked to leave, according to the lawyer's letter. And the woman began to suffer the effects of whatever she'd ingested, though she'd consumed less than 2 drinks, the letter said. Her friend, from whom she'd been separated, never made it to the room. She was throwing up in the lobby restroom, she said in an interview. According to the letter, Miss Harris suggested that the military veteran freshen up and brought her to the bathroom, where the woman, intoxicated and overwhelmed, allowed Miss Harris to undress and bathe her and T.I. By the time they got back to the bed, all three people were naked, and the veteran began vomiting, the letter said. T.I. then attempted to put his foot into her vagina. Oh my God. She told him no, the letter said. The woman then recalled T.I. laughing at her for throwing up and him leaving to retrieve condoms. The next thing she remembers, the letter continued, she was waking up naked on the couch with a towel thrown over her with a very sore vagina. A security guard was banging on the door telling her to leave, she recalled. The woman fled. When her friend picked her up, she recounted the rest of her night. They said in separate interviews. At home, the woman made a beeline for a bath, scrubbing her body with soap tied in bleach. Now, this bleach part, I don't know. Now, this seemed like dramatic effect. Bleach? Okay. Anyway, she was too embarrassed to go to a doctor, she said, but later self-treated for an infection. Another longtime friend who spoke to the veteran within days of the event confirmed in an interview that she had described the hotel experience as non-consensual act in which she had been drugged and never wavered from that when they discussed it years later. The incident left the woman, who had been working at an aeronautics firm in her first job out of the military, despondent, she said. The allegations of sexual abuse against T.I. and Ms. Harris first surfaced via the Instagram account of Sabrina Peterson, an Atlanta entrepreneur who was a longtime friend of the couple, but who said last month that T.I. once held a gun to her head and threatened to kill her in 2009. The couple denied Ms. Peterson's accounts on social media and through a representative. Mr. Blackburn said that after Ms. Peterson posted her story publicly, she was soon inundated with stories from women who had encountered T.I. and Ms. Harris and felt exploited and endangered. The lawyer said none of the women included in this letter were among those whose accounts were posted on social media. So now it appears that there are two attorneys involved in this case. It's growing bigger by the days. Remember, Lisa Bloom is representing some of the accusers, and now there's a criminal investigation being launched in 2 states. So we will stay on top of this case and bring you updates as they are given to us. All right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please, y'all, leave a comment and let me know what you think about all this madness. I'm starting to think that there's some truth. I've always said that there is some truth, where there's smoke, there's fire. To what degree, but I just think that throughout the years we've heard a lot about this couple, these allegations, and of course this is all allegedly. They have not been convicted, so we must keep an open mind, but this ain't looking good. Bye.